Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 137 of my journey through Settlers of Kalguur League. Continuing on in the Legacy of Phrecia event. And before we really get going today, I'm going to go over the PoE 2 0.2 announcement and my thoughts on that. But before I jump into that, I want to finally send off this 50 million shipment. I have enough stuff to do it. If I send everything, we're at 51 million, so I can pull out of some stuff so that I'll still have some stuff to play with. And it looks like there's a 7% chance of risk still. I go fishing to see if I can get another 10 shipping crew. I've got a bunch of 9s. I've already spent like 300k gold fishing for those guys. I guess I'm gonna buy this rank 10 miner. Only a couple more attempts at this. Get another rank 10 miner. I need a rank 10 boat. Oh, 9 farmers. That's an upgrade. Go one more time. No. I'm gonna have to take the 7% risk. That's okay. Ooh, that's really close. Let's see if I raise this by 10. Okay, another 10. Make it a 9. Okay, 60. It's close. Very close. Need 8 more. So what I do, put this here. Keep altering this till it sits. There we go. 50 million. I saved myself some business so I can still send off boats for Awaken Gems. And then after I go through this PoE 2 stuff, we'll see what comes from this big shipment here. They're off. Okay, so there's lots of stuff coming in PoE 2 Dawn of the Hunt next week. A new Ascendancy class, a ton of content, lots of support gems, giving some map portals back, and if you just watch the trailer, it's kind of like all new stuff and hype and build up. And while I am excited and I am by no means disappointed with this update, there are definitely still some things to be desired, at least from me, and the state of how endgame is. And I'll dig into that as we go through here. So the big new thing is the Huntress being added. 2 Ascendancy classes, the Ritualist and the Amazon. From when PoE 2 was initially announced, this is the character that I wanted to play the most. I'm very excited to get to play the Huntress with the spears. A lot of cool stuff there. The abilities all look really cool. Look like they'd be a ton of fun to play. You can ride a Roa, and that means GGG's gonna be selling mounts at some point in the future as skins for this Roa and maybe other things that come, because there's still a lot of classes and ascendancies that we do not have access to. But all of these new skills, the parry thing, the in and out of combat, the like combination of melee plus ranged is very, very cool. I'm very excited to play around with the spear stuff, and when I play PoE 2 coming up next week, I'm absolutely playing a Huntress. Which Ascendancy yet, I don't know. I want to play with the spear stuff. But if you're not interested in playing the Huntress, want to play something new, there are new Ascendancy classes for the Warrior. The Smith of Kitava has some cool stuff there. I'll look at all the Ascendancies more in depth in a minute. The Tactician's really cool. There's this like rain of arrows thing that you can summon in. More stuff to play around with the crossbow things. And the Lich, Master of Chaos and Curses. This class also looks very, very cool. We've seen the Summon Roa skill, but there's also the Raise Spectre skill being added into the game. Any enemies that you can fight and kill, for the most part, you can raise them as minions, which would pair very nicely with the Lich class. And there are so many ways that you could build around specters. Then, addressing one of my 3 biggest issues with PoE 2, they're adding 100 plus new support gems. It felt like when playing PoE 2 that every build was kind of on rails. There was only like one really strong choice because you weren't able to use multiple support gems across your build. So you had to like put all of the good stuff only on one skill and kind of theme around just that one, and there weren't really good options to stack a lot of damage across multiple skills. So I'm hoping with this many new support gems, there are a lot more interesting ways to build each character and a lot more choices that are meaningful to make when building the character, rather than just like, well, this seems like the only good option, so that's what I have to do. And there's only showing 4 of them here. They showed more in the video. So no matter what, there's going to be more stuff to look through as leveling a new character in the Dawn of the Hunt. Over 100 new unique items, with a focus on the mid-game and in-game tiers. Previously, all of the uniques were kind of, you use it like very early in the campaign, otherwise it's pretty useless. So getting new uniques that might actually have some in-game purpose will be definitely cool. More things to actually search for while playing in the in-game. This buckler is really cool. Parried enemies take more spell damage instead of more attack damage. Parry coming on bucklers cause you to kind of retaliate and deal more attack damage. And you can use a buckler with a spear, which is also really cool. Mjolnir is in the game. Crazy strength and int requirement on that. +1 to all lightning skills. Grants skill level 18 lightning spell on melee hit. So that's probably a sort of meta gem that you can put stuff into. A unique chest that gives you Soul Eater. That looks cool. There's unique charms as well. This one grants onslaught during its effect. Very exciting stuff there. New encounters as Marian Wisps. I think this will be present as early as Act 1. You can find these wisps. They're kind of like tormented spirits in PoE 1. They're kind of more slow moving. There's 12 distinct types of wisps, each with their own mechanics and rewards. And they can possess rare unique enemies, granting them new abilities, as well as a special one that can upgrade a rare enemy into its own unique boss. That looks really cool. And there's a bunch of new in-game maps. They've showed a couple of these off. The Fractured Lake, kind of Lake of Kalandra themed area that can give you special rings and amulets that can be crafted to have additional prefixes or suffixes, very similar to PoE 1's heist-specific bases for jewelry. Mirrored rare monsters in there, so you're fighting multiples of the same. Cool stuff. Azimite megaliths. You have to like power up these little monolith things as you go through a map, and then can fight a like series of 10 different boss fights in sequence. Seems very, very cool. Each one giving more rewards. The Silent Cave has a unique monster empowered in an essence, or trapped in an essence rather, and you can free rare monsters and essences around the zone to empower the boss, and then you fight the boss with added essences on it. Also seems cool. There's 5 more maps that they have not shown. So there's going to be new things to find while you're going through the Atlas. Then there's also Rogue Exiles, and they can be empowered by certain unique items that they will be guaranteed to drop if you kill them. It appears these will have a more developed AI and be more interesting encounters than just normal enemies. And they will drop all their items on the ground when you kill them. Seems very, very cool. It makes me think of Nioh. It's a game I've never played, but I've seen it played. Nioh and Nioh 2, there are like these bloodstains on the ground. It's more of a Dark Souls-like game. But you can encounter these little blood circles, and this is where another player character died, and it has all of the gear and stuff that they had equipped, and you can then like resurrect and fight that character that died there and then get the loot from that character. It'd be really cool if there was something like that in PoE, where you're not just encountering rogue exiles that are like predetermined by the game, but actually fighting a rogue exile with the gear set of an actual other character. Seems like a long shot, but would be very, very cool, I think. Then there's also unique strong boxes that they're adding in. This one respawns a rare enemy over and over and over, each time adding mods to it. Ixchel's Torment will grant you a unique item with a specific corrupted outcome. And then there's 2 others that did not announce. They've expanded the progression through in-game. So it's to get your passes, it's not going to be complete so many T1 maps, T2s, T3s, so on, so on. They're actually like diving into the corruption mechanic, and cleansing the corruption is now how you will get your Atlas passive points. And then once you complete the corrupted nexus, it will convert any remaining corrupted maps in that area into cleansed maps with a new set of monsters and modifiers, and fighting monsters in cleansed maps can give you fracturing orbs, which will lock a mod in place on an item, which is very, very exciting. It's nice to have something in the game to allow you in SSF to try and maybe push towards some really powerful item. You wouldn't be able to use essences on these, I don't think. This will just guarantee you the mod, and then you can use chaos orbs on it, and annulments or exalts and things like that. Really valuable if you get it to hit a good mod, but it really felt like in the 0.1 PoE 2 that you're really just kind of hoping you get lucky on a rare item drop, and there being something, anything like this is exciting. But not only that, they're expanding Expedition to have Recombinators. As part of that system, you have to find tokens or whatever to be able to use it, and it's more expensive based on the rarity of the mods on the items. So there will be a little bit more value in Expedition than there was previously. But my biggest issue with PoE 2's in-game still exists in that regard. With Breaches, Delirium, Ritual, and Expedition, if you want to spec into any of that in-game content, you have to make it all the way to the end of the end game. To scale up that content at all, you have to, for Expedition, you have to get a logbook to drop with a certain type of encounter in it that also spawns a boss, and then you have to fight that boss in order to be able to upgrade your Expedition to any way whatsoever. In PoE 1, if I want to specialize in Expedition or Breach, from the second I get to in-game, it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Oh, I guess you could go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4 maps, and I can already be increasing the amount of expeditions I get increased effective artifacts, more expeditions, or I can start getting more breaches and altering the way that breaches work. But it's also not hard if I want to go into Delirium. That's 5, 6. The 7th Atlas point I get, I can start, oh, I want to start favoring this content and altering it to do things. The way it works in PoE 2 is you need to farm a breach stone and then beat Cheula in order to upgrade your breaches in any capacity whatsoever. And if that was the way it worked in PoE 1, breaches would just suck. But at least in PoE 2, there are more things to get from breaches with the catalysts and upgrading quality on rings. There's valuable things there, but you can't specialize in it at all until you beat the boss at the pure tip top of it. And it is my biggest issue with the in-game in PoE 2. And that is still a thing. And for that reason, I'm probably not going to play in SSF, and I probably will not linger in this PoE 2 league for long, because I prefer to play in SSF, and I tried last time to farm a simulacrum in SSF, and it's just this grueling, grindy experience that takes like dozens upon dozens of hours to even get one attempt to slightly upgrade your Delirium. And I never even fought the Expedition boss or the Ritual boss. Breach is a little more accessible, but it is just rough in PoE 2. You can't specialize in the content you want to run in the same way you can in PoE 1. At least in PoE 1, you can engage with the mechanic without like pushing to the pinnacle of that content. So while they're adding a lot of new content, a lot of extra things, a lot of more things to do, and you'll be able to spec into Asmiri Wisps, but just like the thought in my head of like going through that process is I have to grind all the way to the depths of in-game so that I can get my breach stone to go fight the breach boss to be able to increase the density of my breaches sucks. I deeply dislike that. And that's probably not the biggest issue for everybody, but for me, that is like the biggest issue with the endgame. The lack of portals is something that's being changed. Improvements to in-game systems, they change the way towers work, but you essentially lose a portal to your map based on the number of mods on it. So if you ran a white map, you'd have 6 portals, and in SSF, you didn't have amazing access to make things rare. I was running lots of magic maps, so if I had 2 mods on the map, then I'd have 4 portals to be able to complete the map. You can die in the map, you can go back in. They're fixing that. That was a big issue for a lot of people, and it gets harder the more mods you put on the map. I don't think it's the perfect solution, but it definitely opens things up. Getting a 6 mod map takes a lot of investment anyways, so at least there's some way to be able to like make a mistake in any capacity and be able to go back in the map. So that's a big deal. They're adding support gyms, and we don't know yet the extent of balance changes that's coming. If you just watch the video, it's all new content, new content, new content, new content, new content, hype. But there's gonna be nerfs, there's gonna be balance changes, things are going to change. So like there's excitement here, but I've taken a lot of time to think about it and reflect on my past experience with PoE 2. Leveling your gyms is going to be entirely based on item drops. Getting the extra sockets for your support gyms on your gyms is going to be extremely heavily gated by RNG. Rarity is still going to be the most valuable mod on a piece of gear, without a doubt. And you can't scale your content without beating in-game bosses. So there are a lot of the really heavy, like, grindy struggles that I had when playing in SSF that are absolutely still going to be here in PoE 2. So while I mentioned that I'm not personally disappointed, I've seen a lot of very exciting things added in the 0.2 expansion. There's a lot of new things to toy with and mess with and things to do in the in-game. I still think it's going to need more time to cook to make the in-game like grind and loop something that I really want to dig deep and put myself into. Like, I don't want to go into SSF and grind 200 different maps with Delirium in them to be able to encounter the Delirium pinnacle so I can scale up the Delirium. Like, I should be able to say I want to go after the Delirium boss, the Simulacrum, so I'm going to use my Atlas points to like make my Deliriums better and then use my towers to give me access to more Deliriums so that I can go after this one thing. Not, I have to grind this one thing into the ground in order to be able to scale up the Delirium content. It's like, for me, like based on my experience that I had putting like 300 to 400 hours into the game, that has to change. That has to change. And I don't want to go through that grind to upgrade the content. And I'm not going to want to go through it again next time they relaunch a league and you have to progress through in-game again. That is like my core biggest issue with the in-game, and that has not been changed. It's definitely more accessible. A more variety of builds will work, but that third thing, people are going to run into that issue, and it's going to be more present this time, I think. Even though there's going to be all this extra content, new essences, fracturing orbs, less towers, more juice, Asmeri wisps, and cleansed maps, fracturing orbs, new unique strong boxes. Like, there's a lot of content, but the ability to specialize the content that you want to run is just not there still. Outside of your basic strong boxes, shrines. They put Asmeri wisps on the passive tree. There's more things to find, more uniques, new gems, more ways to build, new skills, lots of cool, but like I just gotta, like, as I've thought more and more about it, it's like, well, if I want a level 20 gem, I have to run a corrupted into a T16 map with corruption and irradiation on it for a chance for that gem to drop to allow me to get a level 20 gem. That sucks. I can't just grind my skill up to its highest level like I can in PoE 1. So while all of the new stuff is very exciting, and I am excited, and I'm looking forward to playing it, I think the in-game experience is still going to fall short for me based on the issues that I've kind of laid out here. I haven't mentioned it all. Like, if you want an expert bombard crossbow, which is the highest base that gives you an extra grenade for a mercenary, that is an item level 82 item that you have to like grind up to the highest pinnacle of content to be able to even like acquire the item that you want to craft on. It's not like you can just have access to the expert bombard crossbow at, say, like T5 maps, and then you need to get to the highest tier to get the best mods on it. No, you have to get to that high tier to even have a chance to get the item you want to craft on. So, like, there's still things to improve here. There just isn't enough here yet. It still needs to cook for me to say that, like, this is something I'm really ready to, like, start investing tons and tons and tons of time into. I feel like I will still have far more enjoyable experience playing Path of Exile 1. I'm excited to play with the new skills, but I've really thought about it a lot, you know, just like thinking about what were the big things that I disliked. It's gonna turn into that grind of just nonsense. You're looking for an RNG drop on a level 20 gym, or to get your greater, or I think it was perfect jeweler's orbs. Like, getting the 5 sockets and the 6 socket item, like, skill gems in SSF was an insanely grindy. And it's like, you have to get lucky to be able to actually, like, fully create your character. So while I'm going to check out the Huntress, as I'm very excited about that, I'm probably only going to play it for a week or two, and then I'm actually looking forward to jumping into Last Epoch until we get the next PoE 1 expansion. I'm not going to go crazy in 0.2 outside of just exploring for a week or two with the Huntress, and I'll get to see some of the new content, but I'm still going to take a step back from it in the end and let it keep cooking, because I know that insane level of grind to actually access the content the way you want to is still going to be there. That is my big takeaway. We'll get patch notes and we'll get to see the nerfs that are definitely going to be coming. I think that Grim Feast thing that could stack, like, double up your energy shield, I can see that getting gutted. I hope there's a better balance for armor in the game, because it just felt bad. Not having life on the passive tree also just, like, really narrows down your decision making. Like, there's no real good choice between offense and defense as the way that the passive tree works. So it'll keep cooking. With the amount of content they added, it's definitely got me very hopeful for the future of PoE 2, without a doubt. I also downloaded the press kit to see if there's anything interesting in here. Nice little background art. I think this is one of the new unique items showcased from the cinematic. More unique items here, showing off the item arts and things. This crossbow isn't something that we have in PoE 1, so don't know exactly what that is, but looks cool. Recognize these boots for sure. Relicash and Patience. More new uniques. Life and Mana Flask can be equipped in either slot. Cool belt. Unique Charm. Ignite enemies in presence as though dealing fire damage equal to 25% of your maximum life when used. That's when you become ignited, as when that gets used. Unique Spear and Buckler. Infinite projectile parry range. Increased parry debuff duration. Requires level 52 on that. Chernobog's Pillar. Gain percent of damage as fire damage per 1% chance to block. That's cool. The Coming Calamity they showed off gives you all 3 Herald skills. Enemies in your presence have no elemental resistances. Also very cool. That's a very strong unique. And look at its item art. Its item art is fantastic. Very cool. Talismans. I believe these come from the Wisps. These can be put into socketed items. Specific, though. This one can only be used in gloves to gain rage on melee hit. Body armors. Corrupting Blood cannot be inflicted on you. Though it never felt like Corrupting Blood did that much damage in PoE 2. Well, that's cool stuff coming. Ah, yes, there are the Ascendancy classes. Let's see, we got Suppressing Fire, projectile damage builds pin. Persistent buffs have less reservation. Allies in your presence have attack damage equal to 25% of your main hand weapon's damage. Can place multiple banners. Pinned enemies cannot perform actions, so some synergy with pins in here. Gain 100% armor as extra stun threshold. 100% evasion as extra ailment threshold. That's really strong. Defend with 200% of armor in here. Max evade chance is 50%. Maximum physical damage reduction is 50%. Enemies have an accuracy penalty against you based on distance. Interesting. There's a supporting fire skill. That looked really cool in the video. Totems have more skill speed. Totems only use skills when you fire an attack projectile. Interesting. Cool stuff there. Tablet with maps have chance to contain Asmary Spirit. And this is all Asmary Spirit and Essence specking into you can do on the tree. Which is cool. I like this. But I should be able to make the choice that I want to spec into Breach or Ritual or Expedition or Delirium as opposed to these things. Like, please, I'm begging you, fix it. Greater Runes. Martial Weapon, increased skill speed. Interesting. Debuffs expire faster. Reduced effective shock. Chance to inflict lightning exposure. Meta skills, gain increased energy. Lightning thorns. Minions get Fizz extra lightning. Minions take Fizz damage as lightning damage. Smith of Kitava Ascendancy. Get the Manifest Weapon. Temper Weapon. Fire Spell on hit nodes. Modifiers to fire res also grant cold and lighting at 50% their value, as well as max res with Forged in Flame here. And they said you can kind of craft a body armor. Can only use a normal body armor. Passive skill is free to allocate. So with this, I think you put on a normal body armor and you get to pick one of these buffs. I thought this was like a PoE 1 Chaos Orb initially, that you can like randomize an item with this mod on it, but it doesn't seem like that. It looks like this is something you can get in addition to a normal item, which has me kind of meh on it, honestly. But if it does actually work and you get to like turn that item into a rare item with one of these mods, that could be really cool. But you wouldn't be able to like really specialize the craft, right? You can only craft it through this. So maybe it is cooler than I think, but I kind of feel pretty meh on it. Though the tempering weapons and the manifest weapon, like this stuff all seems cool. The actual ascendancy, the rest of it seems pretty nifty. And this is that tempering weapon skill in use in game with the like manifested weapon that you can use to fight for you. You can actually like whip this out and do this in the map. It's kind of cool. This is a Rogue Exile. It has Demon Stitcher and Bushwhack equipped. It actually like makes use of those unique items and it will drop them if you kill it. Cool stuff there. There's 12 different of those Rogue Exiles. The Ritualist Ascendancy for the Huntress. You kind of have to cut off a finger. You have to take a debuff in order to get an extra ring slot. But then you get increased attributes and can get increased bonuses from all your jewelry. Seems very cool. Can instead consume 25% of maximum mana to trigger charms with insufficient charges. And +1 charm slot, more charm charges gained. Increase life recovery per 5% missing life on this node. Ritual Sacrifice skill can grant you mods from a rare enemy that you killed. And then the Blood Boil skill also seems really cool. It seems like a passive AoE. If enemies in your presence, kind of they start taking damage over time kind of thing. Seems pretty cool. And then as the Whispers demand, you can sacrifice 20% of your life to grant a random monster mod. You can only get one mod that way. I think it only steals one mod from a rare enemy, so I don't know how valuable that actually will be. Really cool art though. Ogham's Legacy Strongbox. That one they showed in the video. There's the Lich Ascendancy. Really cool jewel socket thing. Increases mana cost if you have no energy shield, but you double the effect of socketed jewels. If you put it in this, 20% max ES on the way to it. Your life cannot change while you have energy shield, which is behind. 10% of damage taken bypasses energy shield. No inherent mana regen. Regenerate mana equal to 6% of maximum life per second. Weird. That's strange. Increased energy shield if you've consumed a power charge recently. That's on a small node. The big one gives non-channeling spells consume power charges to deal 25% more damage. Okay, interesting. Non-channeling spells cost an additional 3% of max ES, deal 30% more damage. Spending ES does not interrupt recharge. That's cool. Cursed enemies killed by you or allies in your presence have a 33% chance to explode, dealing a quarter of their max life as chaos damage. You and allies in your presence have Unholy Might while you are not on low mana. Lose 5% mana per second. Unholy Might gives 30% of all damage as extra chaos damage. I think this might be backwards. I don't think this image is correct, because this node gives increased magnitude of Unholy Might per 100 max mana, but it's pointing to this as the one that gives you Unholy Might. So I think these are like backwards, maybe. I would like to hope, because cursed enemies would make more sense on the one that gives you an additional curse as well. So I think this image is kind of backwards. So you probably get the Unholy Might, then you can get Blackened Heart, or you get Rupture of the Soul, then Dominion over Flesh. It would be really awkward if it was the other way, like actually like this. The power charge stuff seems cool there, though. The art's fantastic. Yeah, that Blood Boils skill. Enemies in your presence accumulate blood boils periodically. When they die, the boils pop, applying corrupted blood to enemies near them. And that damage is based on the slain enemy's life. Quality gives corrupted blood duration. Stolen mod duration is 19.75 seconds at level 20. And then in SSF, level 20 gems is not something you expect to ever have. Elemental Infusion grants your weapon infusion. Projectile attacks with that weapon consume infusions to infuse the first projectile fired, causing it to explode at the end of its flight. That's part of the Amazon tree. Haven't found that in here yet. Here's all the different skills. A Spear of Solaris looks really cool. The Whirling Slash is something I think is very cool. And the Twisters, I think that's very fun looking. But then the blood skills kind of look cool too. Like, all of these spear skills look really fun to play with. Sniper's Mark in here as well. Can't see what all this stuff does, but interesting. Okay, here we go. Here's the Amazon Ascendancy. Asmeri Brew. Life Flasks also recover mana. Mana Flasks also recover life. That's really cool. Evasion rating from equipped helmet, gloves, and boots is doubled. Evasion rating from body armor is halved. Stalking Panther. That's cool. Life Leech recovers based on your elemental damage as well as physical. That's huge for this. Chance to hit with attacks can exceed 100%. Gain additional crit chance equal to 25% of excess chance to hit with attacks. That's crazy. Attacks using your weapons have added physical damage equal to 25% of the accuracy rating on the weapon. So if your weapon has accuracy on it, I think that means that it would gain flat fizz from that, which is interesting. A use for accuracy on a weapon, maybe? And then stacking a bunch of accuracy gives you a bunch of crit chance. Nifty. Here is that infused weapon skill that we just looked at. 50% chance for infusion not to be consumed when infusing a projectile. So infusion depends on which charge you are consuming. So you have to consume charges. Interesting. Reveal weaknesses against rare and unique enemies. More damage against enemies with open weakness. Increased movement speed while an enemy with open weakness is in your presence. Increased skill speed while an enemy with open weakness is in your presence. That seems pretty strong as well. I like that. The corrupted bosses you have to defeat right out of Scourge/Beyond from PoE 1. More look at the corruption. I think there's a really cool thing going on here where you can clear the corruption to get corruption stuff, or you can defeat the corruption nexus to turn all of the maps into cleansed maps. I think that is really, really cool. Asmeri Spirit, and these unique items are also in here. Okay, like that covers all of this stuff. And yeah, that's all I'll talk about with regard to PoE 2. My boat is back, and I think I made my main points clear. There's a lot of new stuff, a lot of cool things being added. I still don't think the in-game experience is going to be a grind you want to do over and over in its current state. So, what do we get? Here are the rewards. Oh, there's a 6-link bow, Harbinger bow, 6-link chest as well. Looks like I need to dump some space. Okay, there's a Realm Shaper, like really well or high mods on the items that are in here. Chances of getting well-rolled stuff sending that much juice is definitely higher. Nothing close to what you can get off the Recombinator though. A lot of 5 and 6 links though. Brisk Ramp. Okay, page number 2. 12 Divine Orbs, 2 Sacreds, 1 Mirror Shard. Only 19 on the River Runes, but that's okay. Big mana regen, Amethyst Ring. all of this stuff is going to have to be looked at carefully, because like the chance for it to hit just like some really big rolls on things is very high. 2020 Reap, 2023 Flame Golem, 2023 Viper Strike, 2023 Sword Storm, Chain Hook, but 12 Divines, that's huge. We might be able to actually like get some things happening here. 3 annulments. Sacred Orb may need used on the finished chest when that shows up. Okay, page 3, 3 power runes, 7 times. Okay, anything in here that's just not like super GG, make it dust. Hopefully we'll get some decent dust out of this. Armor ES helm with 60 int on it's very nice. 86 unset ring. I might need this as well. Like, I still have high hopes for this character, even though I've got like a week to still play in this event pretty much if I'm gonna go into PoE 2 and then Last Epoch. So we're running down the time that I have left to do things. 12 Divine Orbs though, that is 3 attempts to make this chest, but I need 86 Syndicate's Garb. That is the one thing I'm kind of missing at the moment. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is worth a lot of dust, I will say. 6 Link worth more? No, I'd probably take the fusings on those. Life, Evasion, Mana Regen, Life Regen. Seems pretty nice for a rig. No resistances though. Alright, don't need either of these 6 links. 6 Link, 86 Harbinger Bow. That's not terrible. I'll hold on to that. That one's looking a little better than the other does. If that would have hit all like higher tier of these elements, crit chance and multi, cold res is kind of unfortunate on it. Dot multi, flat fizz, chaos, still more to be desired on that one too. Huge. Finally got to do that. It's always very exciting. It just takes weeks to set up. So only halfway. I mean, I think it takes 3 of these each to go up. So that's only 45. So I'm at 300 of a 500 river runes, basically. I don't think that's happening, but it could up to double the damage that this build does. I do still have one, though, where I'd ever like send this character into Trade League. So I'm gonna have to get 86 Syndicate Garbs somehow. I have tons of lower level ones, but only the one that's item level 88. So the best way to do that would be either to run T17 maps, or try and make the Incursion temples that I was running last time, which is a more appealing prospect, honestly. So maybe I will do that. So what I need to do is alter my shrine boosting setup here to have the Incursion stuff I need to make Incursion temples. This has a 50% chance to upgrade an additional time. I need that. Here's one of the Resident Architect ones. I need that. 48%, 49%. Okay. So that's 99% chance to upgrade an additional time. And then the Resident Architect upgrades their rooms to the surviving room. Okay, so I just need those. The mod effect shouldn't matter. I won't be doing destructive play, so explicit mod effect. Okay, so that gets these in here. I'll need to use an Incursion Scarab. I have plenty of those, I'm sure. 53 of them. And I have 1 temple duplication Scarab thing, if I get a good one. And then hopefully I can get to level 97 as well, and throw extra shrines in because fun. And you can't really do this crazy nonsense in PoE 2. That is another big plus of PoE 1. You can get way crazier things happening as this game is so much more developed. I really think PoE 2 is going to be so good when it fully launches. 36 ascendancies to pick from. It'd be like playing PoE 1 with all these Phrecia ascendancies and the existing 19, which, who knows, the next PoE 1 league, we might get that, honestly, because these Phrecia ascendancies are very fun to play with. A Ziggurat map, and if PoE 2 isn't something you feel like you're ready to jump into or not interested in, this Phrecia event will still be continuing through near the end of April. Potentially another event on top of this, going into 326, which should be the next big thing out of GGG. We've been on this legacy, we've been on this Settlers of Kalguur stuff for a long time at this point. Writhing Invitation. Hey, a corruption boss in PoE 2. Haha, he got so destroyed. This build just goes. 2 Twisted Distant Memories. So looking at my temple, after 3 maps, I don't have the Toxic Grove, and my Sanctum of Unity is not max level, though this does say increases level of items dropped by 1, so maybe it only needs to be tier 2. But I'm not going to put the fancy Scarab in. because it's not guaranteed that I'm getting the temple that I want. And I need to get my boats doing something. Back on the trips for exceptional support gems. All of my farmers are T8 and above now. Another corruption boss in PoE 2. Katash, the Hate Shepherd. That was the one they showed in the video. Tainted Chaos Orb. What? The Poison Guard didn't go up to level 2? My 1%! It hit on that? Man, this had potential. So it made it a tier 2. I did get the Temple Nexus, so I can still get the chest out of here, so I'll run it. So the pods will still spit out enemies, there just won't be as many of them. I don't know if there's like guaranteed crazy amounts of rares either. Wait, doesn't this give you shrine buffs? Yeah. Can't really put on a blunderbore and make this work though. Well, that's got an insane strength requirement too. The goal would be nice to have with this though. 84 Syndicate's Garb. It's gotta come off a rare. String of Servitude, Strength and Int. Call of the Brotherhood. No 86 Garb out of this temple. That's fine, we'll try again. I think I am more interested in trying to max this character out than I am trying to do the animate weapon puppeteer build before PoE 2 comes out. And others have told me that they've also had issues. Like quite a few people told me that they're having issues with textures and stuff loading into instances. So it's definitely not just me, which is quite a bit reassuring. Not ideal by any means, but it is reassuring that there's not something just like happening to my computer all of a sudden. A Starfall Crater. This is going to be interesting. Am I going to be able to get damage up? Got always crits at the moment. That is certainly something. Okay, yep. It's delayed stuff loading it in here. Move. I can turn the tincture on. Okay, now we got to deal with the falling things. Someone said they've even had troubles getting these rings to spawn in. That would really be unfortunate if I wouldn't be able to see where those were coming.
I can truly fight at full strength against you.
What the build's doing? Oh, you know what I should be doing? It's kind of hard to just switch it at the moment. Here. Belt. There we go. Ow. More damage. And move. Come on. Almost there. Face. Okay. Dodge the things.
Let's test your resolve.
Oh, one under me. Looks good. Okay. Tincture, flasks.
I'm finally starting to
Are you gonna stop? Okay.
I think you'll appreciate this one.
Move. Okay. That attack hurts so bad if you get hit by those spikes.
You fight
Cool.
well.
Did it with this build. And I have Recium again. Spore Bloom Tincture unique. Another one of these bosses. Gore. Okay, I've seen all three of them. Awesome. No, that wasn't the third one. I haven't seen Beat-At. I've seen Gore today. Another Starfall Crater? Okay. Put the belt on first this time. It forces me out of my Frenzy Charges on that Rockfall phase. I wanted Frenzy Charges so I could use my Vol skill. To kill him? No, it just broke his ward, that's it? Oh, come on.
You have shown yourself.
Echoing Shrine's better than Vault Flicker Strike. No shield. Another Gore. Here, hit the Vault Flicker Strike on him. Dead. Haha. Same spot I was in last time on the temple. 3 incursions remain. Only a Sanctum of Unity. Not a Temple Nexus. And I need new maps. No more Lighthouse. I've got way too many Academy maps. Beach, I think. Might be able to pull it off in the last one. Poisonous Plants. Should upgrade to tier 2. Temple raises it to 3. And there we go. Toxic Grove, Temple Nexus. With the T3 one, there's like so many enemies pop out of these little pods. And a bunch of rares. Twilight Regalia. Not the one I'm looking for, but proof it can happen. String of Servitude, attack speed during any flask effect. Sacred Chainmail, another Sacred Chainmail. Royal Plate, Twilight Regalia, Necrotic Armor. Not this time. I think I'll have a chance for it out of every temple, though, that I make. 6-link Saintly Chainmail from the Incubator. Eradicator, another Impulsas. It is so much fun to come into the boss, press the ball, flicker strike, walk away, dead. Another Beyond boss, Gore again. I should have Vault Flicker Strike to him. Oh well. 35 Simulacrum Splinters. Got the Toxic Grove locked in. Still need to raise the Shrine up 1 and 2 maps. 2020 Lightning Pin. Temple Nexus. So this one has both the things before the final map, so I can use the big scarab. Hopefully I can get some better connections on this, because this looks like a nightmare to run. Final Architect slain in area will drop an itemized temple. Itemized temples dropped in area are generated based on current temple layout, but with randomized room tiers. Oh, so maybe it won't work, but you know, we'll give it a shot. Chronicle of Atsuatl, what do we got? Sanctum of Unity and Poison Garden. That's not good enough. But at least the one I made just got it. Ooh, there's a Corrupting Tempest in here too. That could ruin things. So I gotta try and avoid that. A corrupted item level 86 Syndicate Garb doesn't do me much good. Wow, it's a 14-second. Ah! Look at all the rare enemies on my minimap. Is it gone? Okay. Cool. Twilight Regalia. Sacred Chainmail. Ah, I had a Tempest up for the boss. It dropped one of the jewels that corrupted into a Fragility. Rip. Necrotic Armor. That one's corrupted though. Rip. Hey, a Putrid Cloister dropped. Imagine that. Corrupted 6-link. Awakened Brutality leveling up. Looks like once again, no Syndicate Garb. And in the future, I should try not to put Tempests in there just to remove the possibility of corrupting stuff. Screaming Invitation. No Pyramid Room. So this one can't drop 86 items. Lost a crew. Oh, I sent them to the wrong place. They brought me a 2120 Orb of Storms. They're supposed to go to Gakanu. There's a BDAT. Finally. Vault skill. Uh-oh, it took me on a journey. I ended up back at BDAT. That is a crazy skill. A wild button to press. No! The plant showed up, but it's on my Sanctum of Unity. Sanctum of Unity is actually more important. Man. Hopefully it'll show up again somewhere else. Level 97. The level goes into Colloidal Mixture. More Tincture Effect. Well, no Toxic Grove, but I at least get the +1 level of drops, so I'll give it a run. Twilight Regalia. Gotten a lot of those from this. Maybe it's telling me I should maybe make... Or like, I can use the Divines I had to Recombinator gear for this build, or move on from this build and like use them to Recombinator stuff to min-max Energy Shield for a Energy Blade animate weapon thing. And I would really like to see this build finished. Vial of Transcendence. That's for the jewels. Level 86 Max Roll Lich's Circlet. I already have a triple T1 ES Helm. A Necrotic Armor. The stuff's dropping, it's just not giving me the one I need. Sheula Breach. No splinters, but it was cool. There's a Syndicate's Garb. 86. Okay, we got one. Wow. The transmutation hit the T1%. Okay, so now I need to roll the others, it looks like. Well, first let me get this one. This one just needs scoured. Roll this one for the big percent. There it is. So I have 2 of those. And I look for the other mods on all of the other bases I picked up. T1 flat, very low roll. There's a hybrid. So I'll throw 2 in. It did not go rare. It lost a good one, but kept the 88 base. Okay, so I can re-get that. Let's try the other one. Did not go rare. Kept a flat, but kept the 86 base. Rip. And there's one of them back. And there's the second one. And back to all these. Flat, flat, another flat, another flat. 5 flats in a row. A clean flat, flat again. Where's my hybrid? 2 more flats. Of course. There's hybrid and a hybrid. All right. Mix the T1% with the hybrid. Go. No. Kept the flat, kept the base. Yet again. Try that again. Yeah, with the flat. Please go rare. It did not. Kept the flat. And kept the base. Gotta be kidding me. T1%. And there's a T1 with some spell suppression. And again, I think I go for the flat before I do the hybrid because I have so many. Please go rare. No. Kept the flat. Kept the 88 base. How many times are we gonna do this game? Come on. This one went rare. Kept the flat. Lost the thing. It's like, what? 6 times in a row now that it's like kept the 86 base and not giving me the thing I'm looking for. Illusions with cold res and dex. It's really not hard to hit the rolls. It's harder to get the bases. We're now like digging into these with such low flat that they'd have to be divined without a doubt. But let's go. That one kept the percent, but lost the flat. So I can just try it again on this one. It went back to magic, kept the percent. Okay. Try it with the hybrid then. Went rare. Okay, so I've got a percent plus the hybrid. So now I need the percent plus the flat. Try again. Nope. Kept the flat, lost the percent, kept the base. So I roll the percent back on here again. That was easy. Took like 8. Go again. Fugitives. Kept the base. Still. Again, it only took a few. This one's got chaos res with it. Please. Not rare. Kept the percent. Alright, so now I need another flat. A hybrid. Because of course, now it's going to roll the hybrid. Another hybrid with spell suppression. There's a flat. Go. Got him. Got him. And I lost a suffix. Perfect. Okay, so it's the 3rd try at this. 3 crafted mods on both of them. Avoid ignite, armor gain during soul gain prevention, 2% life mana, and evasion regen is life. All right, let's go back, put them in. Need to snag it a little bit of gold. Now put them in, please, please. Lost the hybrid. Lost the hybrid. It's on the 88 base, which had a 1217. What I have is a 1368, so it's not perfect. This could be used. This has the percent and the flat, so then I would want to get one. I mean, they both don't have to have the percent. I would like them to both have the percent because that is the most mandatory thing to go on it. There's still 8 divines. I got enough bases. I mean, let me see what happens here. Need a flat. There's a flat. Combine it with the hybrid. If it goes rare, we're good. Nope. Kept the flat. Take another hybrid. Try again. Nope. Kept the flat. This one's got the hybrid. Come on. There we go. So this one only has 2 prefixes. This one needs an Eldritch annulment. If Eater's dominant, remove suffix. Okay. Eater, Eldritch, annul. Okay. So then I can multi-mod. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna try one more time. Armor during soul gain prevention. Life mana. Evasion while focus. Avoid shock. Okay. Please put all of those prefixes together. Let's go. Nope. Kept the percent and the flat. Lost the hybrid. Took my craft. Item level 88 still. So I only have one other low level base left. I deleted a lot of those just now. I could use the one that I'm wearing. It's got the percent. No, I exalted a hybrid on there. So that one's at a rough spot to try and take from. I think I wait. It didn't hit today. Maybe tomorrow. Though I gotta farm more bases up. But that's where we'll leave it for today. I'd like to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit the like button as it really helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss more videos from me. If you'd like to help support my channel, please consider using the super thanks, the heart icon just below the video, or by joining to become a member. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.